Today we're going to test to see if two ratios form a proportion. If you recall, a proportion is merely a statement that two ratios are equal. So let's look at a couple of examples. Let's look at examples in fraction form and examples written as ratios. So if we look at example number 1, we have two fractions. And when I test to see if these form a proportion, I'm going to look at the numerators to see if there's a relationship that jumps out at me. And if not, I'm going to look at the denominators. Well, I don't see an obvious relationship between the two numerators, 5 and 17. But I do know that 3 is a factor of 12. So in order to get from 3 to 12, I have to multiply by 4. Well, if this is a proportion, then this should be true, that the numerator multiplied by 4 should give me the other numerator. So let's see, since I know that 3 times 4 equals 12, I'm going to ask myself, does 5 times 4 equal 17? And of course the answer is no. 5 times 4 is not equal to 17. And so these two fractions or ratios are not a proportion. Okay? Now let's look at example number 2. Okay, I can immediately see a relationship between 18 and 3. 3 is a factor of 18. 18 is a multiple of 3. So I have to divide 18 by 6 to get 3. So, since 18 divided by 6 equals 3, if this were true, then 12 divided by 6 should equal 2. So does 12 divided by 6 equal 2? And the answer here is yes, it does. So this is a proportion. Okay, now let's look at one more example. This one is written as ratios with the ratio, the colon, the two dots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you two ways to do this. The first way is we could just leave it in ratio form. Okay, we're going to leave them in the same order. I'm just going to write them vertically. Okay, because we have seen this in ratio tables. So I'm going to look and I'm going to see what's the relationship between 20 and 4. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So since 20 divided by 5 equals 4, my question is going to be, is this true? Does 5 divided by 5 equal 1? And again, of course, the answer is yes. And so this is a proportion. Okay, now another way I can look at this is 20 over 5, right? 22/5. And 4/1. Notice that when I rewrite the ratios as fractions, I keep the same order. And so here we can see in fraction form, 20 divided by 5 is 4. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And since that is true, again, that sort of just checks and confirms that this is a proportion.